Hello, and welcome to part 2 of my playtest of Over the Reich against John Petrosky. So I'm going to remove all the radar markers because they were put down during the previous player's turn. And so now I press enter and I see what goes on next. Okay, Over the Reich takes advantage of Lua scripting in several exciting ways that you should be aware of. Each turn, all of your heavy flak 88mm and 3.7-inch guns will be fortified unless they are within two spaces of an enemy aircraft. This is done to reduce the time it takes to play each turn. If you're removing one of these units, you will want to go find it, so you can unfortify it and move it towards its destination. Your heavy flak units that are near enemy aircraft will warn you that a raid is incoming by day or night. Press K to fire the flak bursts at daylight targets, and press backspace to fire them at nighttime targets. This might have been available, you might have seen this during John's first turn. You are also able to scan the skies with all your radar sets at once, which I showed you how to do last turn. It is also important to remember that bomb-carrying aircraft in Over the Reich have a limited payload and can only strike once per sortie. I also mentioned that before. Once they drop bombs, their home city will be set to none. To rearm them, you must rehome them. Units with none for home city cannot drop bombs. Certain fighters can still make machine gun attacks, because those aren't payload restricted. Aircraft that are activated within an airfield will automatically have their home city changed from none to that airfield, as long as the airfield can support it. It's important to note, however, that this only occurs when the game automatically activates the unit. So a bug in the Lua events is that we can run code when a unit is activated, but if we activate it from within inside the city screen, the code doesn't run. So that's just to mention here that you'll have to if you manually select the bomber from inside a city, then you'll have to manually change the home city as well. Or you can just use A on the map to select it from inside a city. Okay, so I'll begin by doing some photo reconnaissance. So I press K to generate a camera unit. And okay, so it appears that the city doesn't have any ships in it, but it has a fortified unit. And so I used up a lot of movement points. But I don't want to take another photo right now because that'll make me really vulnerable. So hopefully I can just stick around here in the middle of nowhere. But before I do anything else, I will bring up my combat reports. I want to see attacks that have happened. Okay. So it looks like I lost 9 Sterlings, and there were 18 attacks against them. And it looks like I lost 2 Bowfighters out of 2 attacks as well. I lost 4 Spitfires out of 11 attacks. And then I lost an A-20 out of 3 attacks. And it looks like 2 convoys were also attacked, but none of them were lost. So I'll go details by tile, and just go one by one. Okay. So it looks like there was an attack somewhere around here. Okay. Attacks made into... whatever. Doesn't really matter, I guess. I'll just close the report. And I'll just see what bombers can still escape. Okay. Yep, so I can also press tab and get some information. And I can see that the nearest airfield is Manston, at 43 spaces away, so it'll take a couple turns to get there. But I think I'll send it to Boxhead instead. Oh, yeah, gotta watch out for that bomber destroyer. Maybe I'll send it back manually. Okay, so it looks like that airfield no longer has anything in it. Oh, but here's a bomber destroyer. Okay, that's odd. That's something I'm gonna have to report. That bomber destroyers seem to be visible to me. Okay. Okay, yeah, I mean 110s. Okay, so I was thinking that German air units should have on the night map should have submarine ability, so I can't see them. So that's something I'll have to report to my opponent. So I'll send off some air unit, some bombers, which I should have been sending off in formation groups. Now, if your bombers or your planes are on cloud tiles, they will be harder to spot, well, harder to hit, because the cloud tiles give a defense bonus. However, the clouds also move between turns. Okay, so I don't want to move these all individually, so I'll just move them out of the airfield. And make a nice little formation. And I'll break up the formation so that they're not all standing on the same square. Because there are stat kills in this scenario. Okay, and I'll just finish that off. Oh, I seem to have made a mistake there with the, oh no, that's control should, okay, control wasn't something I implemented, but the formation flying I did. And I might have made more sense to travel over the North Sea far out of radar cover, but, you know, this is all for fun. And I don't think that this plane is going to catch up, so I'll just... Well, okay, next turn I'll land in an airfield. Okay, so let's see if there's anything in radar cover. Okay, nothing in radar cover, or at least nothing that we detect. So somewhere out here, there are some damaged convoys. Okay, so let's see. Okay, that was very foolish to attack the convoy with the U-boat, or the U-boat with the convoy. I'll send Sunderland to kill it. Yeah. I knew convoys could attack, but I should have checked how much they could attack with. Okay. Yeah, you see, some of these things I'm very familiar with in the scenario because I did the programming for it, and other things uh, I didn't do because it wasn't programming related, so I don't know very much about it. Okay, so this unit activating reminds me of something to do. So I'm going to go to Colchester and have a train lift. So basically, I'm going to use the rail network and redeploy this construction team to Plymouth for 156 fuel. And so basically, the game checks if there's terrain connecting your city to the city you want to send to that trains could use. So if your rail station was blown up, for example, then the train under it would be broken, and so the trains can pass over it, and that would mean that the train couldn't get, say, to Plymouth. So if the Germans had bombed out this rail yard at Bristol, the track to Plymouth would be broken, and so I couldn't send the train to Plymouth. Okay, so I'm also going to send the construction crew in Hull to Birmingham to take advantage of the aircraft factory. See, so the aircraft factory changed the terrain to a factory there, but it's outside of the city radius of Birmingham. So Birmingham itself can't take advantage of it. But an airfield could. So I'll press U again and send. Yeah, Birmingham is still the closest. And I think I will send off this task force out of London, because if it stays in London, it's liable to get bombed as part. So in London, well, I guess it can be bombed too, but also if you destroy the port, that destroys any unit inside the city. Well, not like any port and any ship, and also train units as well inside the city. Okay. So this unit can't attack anymore, so I might as well send it back. Manson is good. Now, I can't actually air protect my ship stack because of the way the scenario works, it'll move air protection units over, but I can still give it some air cover. But meanwhile, I will attack this factory near Paris. And you know what, this still has enough movement points to get back, so I'll protect it with a fighter. Yeah, so Spitfires have a range of 3, so they actually impact the battle more than like 5 or 6 squares away from their airfield. But they don't have a large range. Now, it doesn't extend their maximum operating distance, but it gives them a bit more, oomph actually where they are. So I'll just see if there's anything worth taking a picture of here. Okay, that's good to know. There's some flak coming. Okay, now I'm going to send my fighter bomber Hurricanes out to attack the radar station. That's a much better target than the gun emplacement. Oh, that was a mistake. I meant to target with a bomb, but oh well. Okay, now, can this one reach Paris? Not this turn. Oh well. Okay, yeah, so I want to change this to B-17s. Okay, yeah, so I'll wait for the Spitfire to be done. Which means I should have sent it to Ridgewell or something. Okay, London hasn't built a train. Okay, that can go to King's Cliff. Oh, okay, that was wrong. I thought that was a new train. Oh well, doesn't matter. Now, at some point, I'm going to have to organize my bombers into like proper raiding forces. Another thing I'm going to have to do is start scouting for German task forces. Because the Germans do get a task force which can let them transport their units to England to invade. Now they only have one task force, and I believe the Allies start with 4. So if they're spotted, it's really dangerous for them. But if they get in, I only have 1 army group right now, and the Germans start with more. Okay, so that looks good. I'm gonna stop the video here, and then I'm gonna go through all my cities and like set them so that they're properly done. I'll record that, but you might not want to watch me just optimizing my city production. So I'll just put that in a separate video, so this one doesn't get too long.